J'arrive. Ok, all good. Euh, on commence dans... All good. So thanks for coming today for another session with Morpho, and more especially related to the builder side. So we're gonna explore the different use cases that has been built on top of Morpho, and also explore if you have any question and any chance to take a look at different resources existing, and let's go. Yeah, I think so. It's okay.
All right. Cool. So let's start. Thank you everyone to join us again. So I won't go into the details on how Morpho is working because I think we did quite a good deep dive yesterday. Let me share my screen and we'll dive into more into the integration side. Um, so I will remind you about the Coinbase integration that I've been talking about yesterday. Which is like one of the largest integration, like linking fintechs to the DeFi world up. Can you see my screen? Just to make sure that
So
I'm not.
good.
Okay, perfect. So let's start. So sorry for those that were there yesterday. I was talking about the Coinbase loan powered by Morpho. But I'll do a recap today again because I think this is a very important and interesting integration. So basically, Morpho is deployed on the base L2 chain. It's an Ethereum L2 that has been built by the Coinbase team using the OP stack. And there's a Morpho instance on this. And what Coinbase has released on top of Morpho is the capacity for Coinbase users to get access and draw some loans, USDC loans directly through the main app. So if you have the Coinbase app and you are trading coins on it, etc., you can. So it's only accessible for like 50% of US users right now, but in theory, you can deposit BTC as collateral and borrow USDC. So how and everything is just one action. So how does it work? It's built on like a three pillars that Coinbase has built to make this integration super seamless for the user. So one is the Coinbase as a smart wallet. So what is a smart wallet? You know, you may have typical wallet that we call EOA, where you need to store your seed phrase in the secure way. Each time you need to do an action, you need to execute a transaction. So if you want to deposit collateral plus borrow, usually you need like maybe 2 or 3 transactions to execute, which can be quite gas costly. And with Smart Wallet, what you can do is basically like batch many actions together and send this batch in one go and execute one transaction. So it makes things super efficient and like less gas costly. So they have that smart wallet which enable the capacity to, for instance, deposit BTC as collateral on Morpho, borrow USDC, and then send those USDC directly back to the centralized Coinbase account of the user. What does it mean is that then those USDC can be spent by the user. So, for instance, imagine you have the Coinbase credit card and you have borrowed some USDC. Now you can use those USDC to pay at your coffee shop, whatever you latte or or whatever you want. So it's extremely powerful. So it's using that smart wallet. It's also using the passkey technology, which is passkey is I don't know if you have an iPhone or something like that. You have that biometric ID when you scan your face, etc. So with passkey, basically it's a secure way to it removed the need for password and it removed the need for seed phrase management. So you don't need to get the private key or the seed phrase and put it somewhere else and a secure way. It's just like you just need to scan your face to execute the transaction, which is like drastically increasing the UX and the onboarding of users onto the DeFi space. So that's another thing, and there's a last thing which is paymaster. Usually, to execute a transaction, you need ETH in your wallet. But if you're a newcomer, you may not have ETH in your wallet. So one thing that Coinbase has done is, thanks to the smart wallet functionality, they are kind of sponsoring the transaction, so they are paying for the gas to execute that transaction. So the user does not need to have those ETH in the wallet. They just need to have like Coinbase BTC token in their Coinbase centralized account. So everything put together means that the user is just like with the main app. I have BTC in my Coinbase account, and in one click, and can borrow USDC and get those USDC in my Coinbase account again. And everything else is powered by Morpho. Everything is it's fully non-custodial. You own the wallet. The Morpho stack is fully immutable, permissionless, governance minimized. So everything is non-custodial. So it's a very interesting. It's a first of its kind integration, and now there are many fintechs and centralized exchange in the space that wants to reproduce that kind of play and reproduce that playbook. So that's for the Coinbase loan. I don't know if there's some questions.
No, actually, no. That's fine.
Okay. Um, so let's go for the Maker and Spark integration. So, Maker, now it's Sky actually. They have been rebranded, but I think you may know the DAI token that has been rebranded to USDS recently. But DAI is a pretty well known and widespread stablecoin pegged to the US dollar. I think there are several billions in circulation right now. So Maker and Spark, which is like a sub DAO from Maker, um, they were searching a way to generate revenue for the DAO using DAI. And they wanted to lend DAI against several collateral so that they could earn interest on thanks to borrowers borrowing those DAIs. The problem is if you want to earn interest, you need to create a market and you need a lending protocol for that. You need demand, etc. So there were two options: is either they do their own lending protocol or they fork an existing one. But there was like the have every free instance. They already have that instance, but it's pretty limited in terms of collateral that you can list, and it's pretty limited in terms of the risk exposure that you're okay with. And with Morpho, at the end of the day, they selected Morpho as infrastructure to create their product. So basically, they're deploying capital into many markets. So I don't know, we cannot zoom, but there's many markets that are collateralized by USDE, and which is the IFINA asset. So IFINA is a very big, maybe they are in the top 4 protocols on Ethereum right now. So it's a pretty big protocol. And they're deploying capital, they are deploying DAI into those markets, and they are borrowing those DAIs. I think right now we may have 800 millions of DAI deposited into those markets. And at some point, it was basically generating almost 100 million of revenue per year at some point on Morpho. So it was a pretty lucrative project that they created, and they used the Morpho markets and the Morpho uh, Blue protocol as a primitive and as a lending protocol to make this happen. And the cool thing is because Morpho is fully mutable, governance minimized, once you create a market, nobody can change it. So as a protocol, as maker, you really own the entire stack. You don't fear someone to upgrade the smart contract, update the logic, update the risk parameters of the markets. So it's a good insurance for builders on top of Morpho, that you know that the protocol will operate the same way over the long term. So yeah, that was a big integration, and again, zero dev time, zero cost. Just need to deploy the capital into those markets. Another integration, which is a bit similar to Coinbase, but this time not on the borrow side, but on the earn side. Swissborg is a crypto fintech where they're providing a very nice mobile application where users can deposit assets, trade crypto, etc. And they wanted to provide a earn product that is directly connected to the DeFi space. So what they created is a vault, so a Morpho vault that is created by Gauntlet. So Gauntlet is a risk manager that is creating over vaults. And what Swissborg did is they did a very nice front end with a earn and just a button where users can click deposit or withdraw, and it's basically depositing USDC into a vault that you can see here. So a Morpho vault that is then reallocating that liquidity into Morpho market. So the cool thing about this is, as Swissborg, what they wanted is to have a dedicated vault with a very scoped risk exposure. They really care about their users, and they don't want their user to take much risk. So they only wanted to deploy the capital into market that are like very safe. So they are deploying capital into wrapped ETH and WBTC markets, which are like a blue chip asset. So of course it's volatile, but it's considered as very safe. And so they're deploying capital into those markets from which borrowers can come here and borrow USDC against WBTC or wrapped ETH. Of course, one of the cool thing with Morpho is um, there's not only Swissborg and Gauntlet USDC Vault that is deploying capital into those markets. There's also the Stakehouse USDC Vault. So Stakehouse is another risk manager, and there's also Block Analytica USDC Vault. And those vaults are deploying capital into our markets, but also the markets used by the Swissborg Swissborg product. The cool thing about this is that is kind of the market at the market level, the liquidity is reaggregated in the sense that imagine Stakeout's USDC Vault is depositing asset into that WBTC USDC Vault. And before that, there were like borrowers borrowing the entirety of the liquidity. Because now Stakehouse USDC Vault is deploying capital as well into that market, that means there's available liquidity, either to borrow for the borrower or to withdraw if you're a lender. But that means that Swissborg users now can also withdraw. So you can see that even though the vault are kind of separate, they share the liquidity to the extent they share the same markets. So this kind of thing like allows to create earned product that are very seamless, very simple. The standard of the vault is the ERC-4626 standard, so it's kind of technical, but it's a standard that extends the ERC-20 token standard, and the ERC-4626 is quite well known now by builders in the space. And this is it's very easy to integrate into other products. So that's for the Swissborg part. Moonwell. Moonwell is a protocol that was on Base actually, and before they were using a Compound V2 fork, and they were running a landing protocol. But when they saw the Morphos coming into Base, they realized that the Morpho instance was safer and a more flexible infrastructures because you could create a lot of new markets without increasing the overall like a risk of the protocol. So maybe I can pause here and explain what is that. If you take other landing protocols such as Aave or Compound, it's a landing pool. So what's a landing pool is anyone can deposit assets into that pool. So everything is mixed together, and then users can come and borrow the asset that have been deposited into that landing pool. The problem is whenever you add a new asset, you list a new asset into that protocol. As a user, as a lender, you're basically exposed to that additional risk that represent that new asset. So if I'm like, I don't know, landing on Aave, and then Aave is adding X sushi or I don't know, any other asset that could be super risky, now I'm exposed to that asset. Which can be annoying because maybe you're kind of a lender that is super risk averse and you would like to be exposed to only very safe markets and safe assets. You could have you could also have like the opposite, where you are a very diligent person, but and you want a high yield with a high risk as a counterpart, but you can't because like it's a one size fits all model that is pretty much limited, and you can't have that kind of system. While on Morpho, because the market are isolated and vaults on top can decide where to route the liquidity, you can create very safe vaults that are depositing users' liquidity into very safe markets. But you can also create degen vaults that are like chasing yield, but of course, it's riskier for the lenders. And the lenders now they just need to okay, what's my risk profile? Am I fine like earning more yield but taking more risk, or am I better to just have a safer position? So you can do everything on Morpho. And Moonwell realized that it was very much flexible, and they are kind of more on the risk averse side of things at Moonwell. And so they created vaults that are like depositing assets only into very safe markets. And so they have created a E-Vault, USDC Vault, and URC Vault on Base. And they are and those vaults are depositing capital into Morpho's markets so that like base users can borrow. And through the Moonwell front end, you can ever deposit into those vaults, but you can also borrow from those markets. And those vaults, they take a fee on those vaults, and this fee is just like making revenue for the Moonwell DAO. So that's a cool thing. Um, oh, that's a interesting thing that has been built with Vault. So I was talking about Vault a lot already. Um, how it is operated and how it is worked out is you have different roles on the vault. So you have the owner that own pretty much that own the vault basically, and the owner can update pretty much everything in the at the vault level. So what are the markets that are listed? What's the fee, the performance fee that is taken on the interest that is generated by deposits? What is the configuration of vaults, and it can manage also other roles. So the other roles are the curator, the allocators, and the guardian. The curator is a role that is able to whitelist new markets. So whenever I don't know if we take the previous market previous slide. Let's say you are depositing into only those two markets, but you want to whitelist a new market. Then the creator needs to submit that to the vault, and then after given time lock, then the market can be accepted to the vault. Why is there a time lock at the vault level for that action? The goal is basically to have the capacity to protect users. What you don't want is basically having the vault managers to list like a very risky markets, or even like a scammy market. You want people to be able to react to that, right? So the time lock give the time to users to react in case there's a market with which they are not comfortable with, so that they can exit the vault. So there's this creator role can add new market. It's subjected to a time lock. There's the allocator role, where the allocator basically reallocate liquidity depending on market conditions. So I don't know, let's say there's 100 mil that have been deposited into that vault. Maybe there's 60 mil that have been deposited in the first market, then 20 in the second, and 20 in the third one. From time to time, because yield is changing on all those independent markets, because you have one rate per market, maybe you want to move 10 mil from that market to the first one, because now the first one is yielding a lot more than the other two. So the allocator, usually it's a bot that reallocate liquidity depending on market conditions and to offer the best risk adjusted rate to lenders that are depositing liquidity into that vault. And there's a final role, which is the guardian, and the guardian is here, like as the name is saying, it's here to protect users. So let's say there's a new market, a scammy market that is list submitted at the vault level, and users don't want that market to be listed. Then the guardian can be set at the vault level, and um, and the guardian can revoke that action. And one interesting thing that you can do is you could create a sort of mini DAO at the vault level where deposit users of the vault have a say and could vote for revoking a vote action, such as adding a new market. And so using Aragon, which is a DAO setup, so maybe I can go a little bit into the details, but with Aragon, you can create that kind of mini DAO where every users, every depositors as individual can create a vote whenever there's an action at the vault level and to revoke that action. And that mini DAO is set as guardian. And this is basically what, so the schema is a bit complicated, but basically depositors of the vault. So here you have the Morpho vault, which is called MWIF. So it's a wrap if vault. Users deposit wrap if they get vault tokens, so MWIF. Then they can wrap it again to get the DAO token wrapper. And then as a DAO token holder, what you can do is you have a voting power to revoke pending changes at the vault level. So this is a way where you can create fully non-custodial vaults with like some sort of counter power against the creator and the owner of the vault that are in theory in control of the vault. But it's basically the voice of the users here that they have a say using that system. Yeah. So that's it on the integration side of thing. Um, I think there's a question.
Not especially. Could you describe one more integration that's related to the big whale?
Yeah.
It's
So
interesting.
that's a good question. I stopped sharing my screen right now. So the big whale was I think they get to grant. I don't remember exactly what was the number, but so the big whale is social newspaper in the crypto space. They're doing a lot of work and like publishing a newsletter as well, etc. And they are searching for ways to generate revenue. And they get this very nice idea of instead of having people paying each month like a fee, like a classical media, what they could ask users to deposit USDC into a Morpho vault on I don't remember if it's Ethereum or Base maybe to get lower fees. And let's say they ask people to deposit 500 USDC. So it seems a lot, but users are still like owning that USDC, and the big whale would earn part of the interest generated by those USDC. So let's say, I don't know, let's say the vault is users are depositing into USDC vault. there's 100K at 10%. That means like each year, this would generate 10K per year. And maybe the big one would take 8% and leave the 2% of I mean 80% of the interest generated for them and 20% for the user. So that's another way to create some sort of a revenue that could be explored by, like here in this case, a media, but it could be like any other, like some sort of product where you could ask people to just don't pay directly, but pay through the interest generated on Morpho. So that's a very good question.
Yes, like it's because it's probably quite unique to see that actually for
Yeah.
a new.
Oh, and I saw your message on Munwa. Um, it's true they have a credit card, and by the way, I can talk a bit more about how does it work because it's super interesting. So the credit card is like there's different ways you can make it work. So there's one way where you tap up your wallet and you say, "Hey, I'm transferring USDC," and then you can spend those USDC, but I think 180 countries with very low fees, etc. So that's a very cool thing. But there's a more interesting thing where it's using Morpho as backend. So there's two options in that case. Either you use Morpho as a saving account. So let's say you have 10K USDC, you want to be able to pay with those 10K, but you don't want to leave them in a saving account that is yielding zero. So what you can do is use Moonwell solution that is depositing those USDC into the Moonwell vault. So maybe it's generating like 6%. And there's you can activate some sort of a automation where it's automatically withdrawing liquidity from that vault whenever you want to pay. So that's the saving account solution. And there's the borrow solution where let's say you have ETH or BTC and you don't want to sell them, but you still want to pay for your coffee at your preferred coffee shop. What you can do is uh, deposit those ETH or BTC as collateral on Morpho. And whenever you need some liquidity, then it will just automatically borrow on your behalf and send those USDC and fund your account, and you can pay with it. It's just like done. It's just a matter of a second. So it's very seamless, and you just need to put some, you can say, put some constraint on that, and it's fully automated. You own basically everything, your position on Morpho, and then and you can spend dollars or in any other. You can use also other coins like USDT, DAI, whatever, and it's automatically like doing the conversion to USD to pay. So that way you can, yeah, like travel around and be and have like a fully non-custodial setup, which is pretty powerful.
Really powerful. Nice. And also just wanted to know more about the targets of projects that you are granted and so on. Like looks like it's more advanced projects. What
Yeah,
about
it's
people starting from scratch on Morpho?
so that's true. It's pretty much advanced project, even though like a new one. So we have been exploring grants. We'll see how it goes. We need some feedback. I think before reiterating this. But we've been funding also front-end providers, for instance. So right now there's a proposal to fund Paperclip, which is a company that is providing dev support for DAOs, etc. And they've built a front end for Morpho because we are deploying into many networks currently. So I think now Morpho is maybe on a dozen network. obviously we don't have the bandwidth to support all those networks in our main app and with full support, etc. So we have something that we call lightweight deployment, where we just do the minimum, like we deploy the smart contract, the DAO is the owner, and that's it. But we let builders build product on top of Morpho. And so Paperclip, for instance, is building a front end to access Morpho. We have also Oku GFX that is doing this, and there's a bunch of team like building a product on top of this. We have even like the Compound Labs that now it's building an interface because they are running Vault on top of Morpho and Polygon. So those are the nice things because it's fully permissionless and because the governance, the Morpho DAO cannot upgrade, you're sure that the smart contract will still continue to operate, and you can tap into Morpho's liquidity. So, which is a great thing if you if you're a builder and you want to offer a saving account to your user, or at least a way to generate yield, then you can go and build on top of Morpho and check the documentation, how it is done, and start working on this. We have SDKs, we have APIs that just smooth out all the work. So yeah, and like on Discord, people can ask questions. We have like Albist pretty much answering any question. Is like is a beast. I think he's in 2 years. Yeah, he hasn't like missed even one day of like answering questions. So if you're free to jump in and if you have any technical questions. Um, but yeah, for the grants, we'll see. Many projects have been funded that way recently. Maybe I can chip, chip in the forum and find a link. Uh, and this can give you some ideas on. Okay,
Yeah,
here
probably
is.
as well you have like a wish list of projects that you who want to see
Uh,
on Morpho.
that's a good question. Uh, what could be my wish list? Um, there's so many stuff. I really think like having things that are abstracting the away the complexity of being onboarded into the DeFi space is one of the key, most important thing in right now because of course, like I mean, we are a stronger advocate of the permissionless aspect, immutability of smart contract, governance minimized, and just relying on immutable tech as much as possible. But of course, not everyone wants to have like non-custodial setup, or because it's cumbersome, or you need to like do the effort. I mean, it requires some effort, and not everyone has the time to spend on those kind of things. And just you have people, or like my grandma, like I don't think she wants to spend her whole afternoon like setting a ledger or whatever. So the important thing is also to build the tool that are like matching those expectations, which are based maybe on EIP's 7702 or the smart wallet counter abstraction that are like kind of smoothing the onboarding of users into the DeFi space. And I think this is the only way that we can grow the pie for everyone, is to build those access points that are easy and yeah, really improving that UX.
Makes sense, totally sense. There are a couple of questions. Just
Uh,
one.
Protocols I need bridge on eBridge.
And
Is it a question? Ah, I have a question. So I am Morpho is deploying in different protocols. I'm not sure to understand the question.
I'm just trying to understand too. probably if you can reformulate, Andrea. And yeah, could we talk as well to more about Morpho itself, like the core team,
Yeah,
about
sure. I have a slide
hiring.
actually. Um, so hiring, actually, I can drop a link, but we are not hiring a lot anymore because we've been. But still, I think if you have like um, if you're interested in joining us, like feel free to up, let me. So.
Yes, actually, you are like hiring more in the US side, no?
So I think we're pretty much done on the DevRel side, but yes, it was on the US side. Why? So Morpho, we have an office in Paris. We are opening an office in New York as well. We are kind of like on the pretty much on the two time zone, like European time zone and US time zone. But we have people so in France, in the US, of course, but also in Berlin, in Argentina, where as well, in Lisbon, I mean in Portugal. So we have a bunch of people like that are like it's not decentralized, but we also have this office. We think it's super nice also to work together and create bonds together, create a real culture, seal each other, create relationship, and also it's more efficient usually to be like to work live, but it's not with flexible, so it's not a constraint, and we are not forcing anyone to be on site. um, so that's a thing. We have like different teams. So the protocol team that is doing the protocol design. We have the growth team, which is basically supporting. I mean, creating those integrations, thinking about go to market, how to make the most of Morpho's capability. We have the ops team, which is helping basically like the whole company to work. So it's like HR, legal, all those kind of things that are like not really focused on, I mean, specific to Morpho. It's like usually all companies have those that kind of things internally, and the goal of it is to make sure that the engine and the whole company is like up to speed and going full speed basically. We also have the marketing team, which is doing communication, thinking about the branding. Uh, like if you go check the landing page, this is also marketing. By the way, it's really the landing page is really nice. Um, and all the communication and also articles that you can see on the blog or on Twitter, on LinkedIn, whatever the support. So this team is doing this.
How
We
many
have
are
the
you
engineering
actually?
team. Sorry?
How many are you actually?
Between 30, 40, something like that. It's
Oh,
it fluctuates. Like so it's pretty big team, but yeah, I don't know. Um, um, Morpho is not open source right now. It is. I mean, the Morpho protocol has a business license until we switch on the fee, and then it turns like fully open source. So you can't fork the latest version. You can fork the previous one. Uh, but the if you want to check the code, etc., you can. Like everything is open on the GitHub on chain as well. Um, yeah. And the other question, beside Morpho is in different protocol. I will need a bridge to integrate between them. Uh, so I'm not sure I understand fully the question, but each Morpho instance is indeed isolated. So we deploy a Morpho instance on Ethereum, another on Base, another on Polygon. They're not linked together, even though there's way to bridge liquidity from one network to another within one transaction. And there are like plans to offer that. That's true. You need to bridge assets. So it's not fully abstracted yet. So coming back to, so sorry, I answered the questions. But coming back to what I'm saying, was saying. So there's the engineering
Engineering.
team, which is like the biggest team, where this is the team that is shipping the front end, the different apps, that is building the infrastructure, the APIs, so that like we can serve data to users on the front end. And this is something that is quite underestimated, like the cost in terms of human resources, but also like in terms of like infrastructure resources that needs to be dedicated to that. This is quite related to what Web2 startups needs to do, to be honest, when they need to serve a great number of users. Right now, like there's more than 100K users on base, for instance. So you need to have like uptime and good uptime, etc. So you need to a lot of resources on that front. And there's the integration team, which I'm leading, which is basically here to support the Morpho ecosystem from a tech point of view. So whenever there's an integration happening on Morpho, or people asking questions, or yeah, and whatever that is touching the Morpho ecosystem, my team is here to provide support and help them and remove any hurdles that could prevent them to build their product on top of Morpho.
Well, um, and for the fun fact, I know Morpho since the beginning because with Mathis and Paul, we were at Cryptosphere. So it's fantastic to see the growth that you have
I
done during all this year. Really, congratulations for that. I think your team
Thank
is
you.
like one of the most involved to ship really fast and really great stuff. So congrats
Yeah.
for that. And yeah.
Yeah, we've been like trying hard to like ship as fast as possible, but also like at the smart contract level, security is our number one like priority. So on the smart contract side, we take our time before shipping things. On the app side, we've tried to improve the shipping pace as much as possible. So that's why we have hired a lot of engineers recently to scale that side. But obviously, if you increase the shipping pace, you increase bugs that happen. It's human, etc. So we faced like some backlash. I mean, people complaining on like because there were bugs, and it's annoying, and I do understand that. I'm annoyed whenever there's a bug on an app that I'm using, especially when there's money involved. It can be very stressing for people. So we are really trying to make things like yeah, the best we can do. Obviously, like there's some errors, but we learn from them. We try to hear and understand like users. That's why it's important to go on the Discord, and if there's anything that is not clear, like just provide feedback. Yeah, that's the only thing I can say.
Thank you. And one more question, more related to what will be your advice for someone, a Web2 developer that is started in Web3?
That's a good question, because it's been a long time since I haven't I mean that I went into the space. Uh, so I think first being curious is like so important when you're discovering it, because of course there's content, but if you really want to make it in that space, and I think it's relevant for any space that you want to enter, you really need to push yourself further and further, and to really understand like how it works, what's the values behind that space, why are you doing this, why people are behaving this way, why are like things are like that. And I think being curious is really like something that will like, you won't feel that you're working hard, because this is something that is just, you're genuinely like happy to learn more about those things. And I think it's like a very good engine and a good driver to learn and go really deep into an ecosystem. So if you can foster curiosities, I think one of the very important thing, and then there's like a, I think now there's many tutorial. There's like very good content like if you check like Patrick Collins videos, etc. Those are great about security, those kind of things. If this is something interesting for you, I mean, there's great content out there. Uh, Read as much as possible, and just be immersed, like ask questions, go into Discord, uh, meet people. If there's an hackathon nearby your place, or it's if global hackathon are almost everywhere on that globe, so just go outside and meet people. I think just the best way to enter that space, and you'll meet like very passionate people along the way, uh, that are like sharing their experience, and they are here like to create value, right? And I think this is just like so motivating to meet those people, that then after you will just enter and never get out of that space.
Totally agree. On our side, we are pushing people to do, for example, some open source contribution to complete Cypher with Patrick's coding video, like you
Oh,
mentioned.
okay.
Yeah, so we are really focused on this side, and then after that, going to hackathon. So probably if Morpho has some open source repos that we can contribute to or try to solve issue, we will be happy to do it.
Okay. So we have some open source repositories, but I mean, contracts are immutable. So one of the problem of immutability is that when it's deployed, you can't update it. But yeah. Anyway, it can be at least a good source of inspiration, because I think Morpho smart contract. I mean, the Morpho protocol is like Morpho Blue. If you go on GitHub, it's super simple to understand. It's like, I mean, you can even like ask yourself like, oh my God, like researchers or like a protocol designer I paid for like doing such simple thing, but it's just like it's taking such amount of time to reduce things to really the core features and the very necessary one, that are like the strictly necessary one. Why we do that is because smart contracts, I mean, on Morpho, it's holding 6 billions of deposited assets. 6 billions is like it's a huge honeypot, right? And everyone can check the code and try to find a vulnerability, a flaw in that code. So you really want your code to have like zero flaws in that. And so the best way to do this is to reduce the attack surface to the minimum, and this is why we have like a minimalistic approach of designing smart contract. Is we really want to have only the feature that are necessary to make it work, no more. Because if you put more, you're just like increasing your attack surface and your likelihood of being hacked. And this is something that is super important, if you want to create DeFi protocols.
Thanks for all these tips. And yeah, don't hesitate if you have any question. It's the end, actually. Yes, it's the end. Thanks a lot for all these sessions. So tomorrow is not gonna be Morpho itself, but it's gonna be Samuel. So from the forecaster, he's like a developer, core developer from Forecaster, and he's gonna showcase the Morpho frame that is created.
Yeah, it's quite a very interesting thing that you can build using like different building blocks like Farcaster, the DeFi word represented here by Morpho, and you can mix social with DeFi and do stuff that are like super impressive. So I do think it would be a very interesting very interesting call.
Yeah, it will be like an on practice exercise for everyone. But yeah, we are deep diving the frame aspects itself. Thank you again. And I will share the different slides about what happened during these 2 days, and yeah, all good.
Oh, thank you, Selena, again for your time, and thank you, everyone. Have a very nice day. Bye bye. Cheers.
Yeah, bye bye. Thank you.